Welcome to my channel. Now, honestly, this is a new channel, and I'm not experiencing anything that's going on in the crypto community where YouTube is censoring the videos. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. Do you really believe that YouTube is targeting cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other various altcoins out there in the market? Do you actually think that they're targeting us? I'm going to say no. I actually believe what's going on is that Google adjusted the algorithm for YouTube, and it went through utilizing various terms which ultimately targeted the community. Now, YouTube and Google itself most likely does not want to shut down cryptocurrency. That's not the trend of Google. The trend of Google, remember, is to have an open ecosystem that's secure, provides services and solutions that obviously that they can monetize on. So they don't want to just shut us up. What they want us to do is actually create more content, put it out in the ecosystem so they can monetize from it. It makes sense, right? Like, the logical path is that Google does not want to shut down the cryptocurrency space. Matter of fact, they probably want to support it. Now, there is issues with regulations which could potentially cause disruption with censorship like that of China, right? And if you look back at history of Google, they actually exited out of China due to conflicts with the government providing censorship and requesting Google to censor the content and services that they provide. So they're not in China specifically for that reason. And it's for that I doubt that they're targeting cryptocurrency audience and the content creators just to annoy them. Like, that just doesn't make logical sense. Obviously, there's some errors with the YouTube algorithm. So that's the first thing I just wanted to do a shout out. Another reason why I went ahead and created this video. I figured, why not? Everybody else is getting shut down with their Google YouTube channel. Will I? A new channel that literally has hardly anybody following it. I'm not even marketing my channel right now. All I'm trying to do is figure out a way to build an audience and learn how to create content. So I'm doing that right now. So this is just like an exploratory effort here on my end with my channel. And with this video, I'm actually going to do a little bit of technical analysis. I'm going to adjust the keywords on the video, publish it, and see what does YouTube do in regards to my channel. How is the algorithm affecting me? Obviously, we see it with the rest of the content creators. And without a doubt, it's an issue. I'm looking forward to having resolution soon and some proper communications from YouTube supporting the issue that's happening right now. Nonetheless, let's jump to it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I did a quick technical analysis with Bitcoin, current market conditions, and what I'm doing today is focusing solely on the long-term trend. Everybody's looking at, the 4-hour chart, the 12-hour chart, 1 day, 3-day chart, weekly chart. I think that's fantastic, especially when you're a day trader. Of course, you need to focus on smaller time frames to trade and monetize off that data that you obtain. I'm a long-term trader, meaning that I pay attention to swings in the market and I want to take advantage of those swings. So let's look at that right now. I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop. Right now, you'll notice on my screen, I have my Tradingview post. Bitcoin's at currently $7,195 US dollars the day after Christmas in 2019. What I look at is the long-term trend. And as you can see, the long-term trend is still intact. Yes, we are so close to breaking the trend. And I honestly feel that that's okay considering the market conditions that we have right now, specifically with regulatory environment. So first and foremost, in 2011, there was a run-up, taking Bitcoin from 5 cents all the way up to, what was that, $30, okay? And then it corrected down to basically $2. Now, this to me is a great potential prep rally that geared for the epic 2013 bull run. So, as you can see, it crashed, it corrected, kept on touching the median line, and then we went all the way up to, what is that, $1,700, $1,300 back then? Yeah, $1,300. And then we crashed down again. And then we blew past the medium support for the long-term channel, and we still stayed in the long-term trend. We just blew past the medium support, and then we did a fantastic rally all the way up to $20,000. So to me, when you look back at this, it's almost like the 2011 rally was nothing more than preparing the space for the next bull run, which is the next leg up. And it went up initially, corrected all the way up to 200, crashed back down, and then it went up to $1,300. Now, when we fast forward to the most recent bull run that did an epic $17,000 move, you can see right here that this too could potentially be a similar leg as that of 2011. Here we are going down. Now we're touching the base trend line for the long-term trend. And at this point, most traders are expecting one or two outcomes. One, we're going to touch that trend as we are right now in here soon. It's going to blow right past it and recover. Now, the truth is the regulatory environments are not ready for this, right? Like, seriously, they're not ready. Matter of fact, what's going on right now is we're seeing standardizations across the board from the two biggest economies, China and the United States. So we are still working through the trenches of the regulatory environment. And for that reason, I actually expect that this trend is going to potentially have a small leg up. We might see Bitcoin go all the way up to 11,000, but it's going to end up coming right back down, touching that 6,000 mark. And it might just stay there for a little bit. If it goes down lower, that's okay. Hey, there's been a lot of chatter that Bitcoin's going to go down all the way to $1,200 again and touch that 2013 high. And it could, statistically, when you look back at trends for other asset classes, that's typically the pattern that exists. Once when you make a new high, it crashes down to the previous support. And in this instance, that previous support would be $1,300. If it did that, it's going to quickly boost right back up. I highly doubt it's going to go all the way down to $1,300 in today's environment. What I see more likely to happen is that we're going to break the long-term trend line temporarily as regulatory concerns get washed out. Once when the Chinese yen hits the market, and the United States takes a strong stand with clear regulatory steps that allow major corporations to jump into this space with confidence, we're going to see a huge move up. So it's soon, right? Like in the long-term things, within the next year, we should have progress on this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Now, I showed you my chart. I'm going to post the link down below. I went ahead and put in there 4 possible phases that I feel might come to play with Bitcoin with the long-term trend line. I shared my views, obviously political, right? Between the two biggest economies of the world, we're talking about the United States and China. China's on the brink of releasing the digital yen. United States has a trade deal with phase 1 just went through. We're looking at the long-term trend. And in the long-term trend, we should have a deal with China that's going to bring confidence into the global marketplace. And I hope so, right? Because this is going to create an epic boom, both for economic drivers of those two countries, as well as the supporting countries, allies. The whole global marketplace will rock with new found wealth. Now, how is the United States going to enter into the new digital world of, digitizing the dollar? Are they just going to just jump up and compete with the digital yen? I don't think so. Actually, what I believe is going to happen is digital yen is going to get released. The United States is stepping back, monitoring what's occurring, and they're going to potentially use Bitcoin as a vehicle on purpose so that, citizens that hold United States dollars can go ahead and transact with Bitcoin, use it as a vehicle to go ahead and invest in digital yen, make strong investments in global economies, especially in economies that are expected to grow like that of Africa and so forth, where they have been a little behind. We honestly are going to see some strong traction in cryptocurrency. So to the note of like YouTube censoring, I just don't see it. I see a future of continued growth. And with that, it's just hard for me to think that Bitcoin's going to crash so far. Matter of fact, I think this is going to propel Bitcoin to new levels. The problem that we're seeing right now is that holders, hodlers, folks that don't have enough experience with investments, they just lack the patience. And it's stressful. It's so stressful to enter into a position not knowing when you can exit that position. And that's the term of weak hands, right? Like seriously, you sit there invested, you were strong at first, but now you're getting weak. So your hands can't hold on to that asset no more. You need to let it go and get out. And a lot of people are getting out. As a matter of fact, I would just say that like 9 out of 10 people in the 2017 bull run, they're gone. And it's okay because we need that, you know, with every ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of markets. People need to sell assets once when they were acquired. So you acquire asset to sell. It's just, you know, common sense. Now, what's going to happen with Bitcoin, right? I'm going to tell you right now that it's going to continue to grow. I've seen this before through the various ebbs and flows. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and share my desktop again. Let's look at Bitcoin's trend with Google. This is the last 12 months, right? So Bitcoin, the last 12 months, you can see that we started gaining a lot of traction. In June, Bitcoin really had its heyday, almost $14,000, or it might have hit $14,000, and then it crashed, right? The bubble popped. But you can see this trend line it's bouncing and it's evening out. It's not as sharp. When you look at the past and you go back further, let's go back 5 years, you'll notice the trend as soon as it comes up. You know, every time that there's interest in Bitcoin, there's price movements, that's affecting the Google Trends results, searches, activity online. Google's monitoring this, and they can see the ebbs and flows of the market. And the more shaky it is, like, you know, right here, right after the big bubble popped of $20,000 in 2018 is quite depressing time. You can see that it's shaky. Those lines were shaky. And right now they're starting to kind of even out. Now, what does that honestly mean? Like, does that mean anything? No, it really doesn't. It's just an analysis based on trend going on with Google trend results. What I find even more interesting is when you go back and you do a custom time range, and let's take this time range to, okay, 11/26, 2011, and let's take this back to 12/26, 2013. That's fine. We're going to go back. And right here, you can see, you know, there's spikes and it smooths out. Once it smooths out, then it gets ready to rocket. And there is its rocket in 2013, and then here we go again. You know, it crashed, and we have a lot of shakiness going on, and it starts smoothing out, and then boom, another pump, and then now we have our leg up to $20,000. Let's actually zoom in. Oh no, not $20,000. That was the 13. So that was that. We had a couple big moves in Bitcoin in 2013. Let's actually zoom into that time period a little bit more. Let's take this custom time period. Let's focus on the year between 2012 2013. Okay, nice smooth trend going on. Parabolic growth, it crashes. We have some shakiness in the trend. It evens out, you know, it has this shakiness going on. It started evening out, then it gets pumped, crashes back down, market gains confidence, and then it crashes again. So to me, that's important, right? Because when I look back from the past 12 months, I'm seeing some similar patterns, shakiness going on. And now it's starting to level out, smooth out, ups and downs. It's smoothing out. Now, when we start seeing the trend go past this trend, which is what, August, September, September, end of month of September. So when we pass the trend in Google from September 22nd to the 28th of 2019, that to me is an indicator that we are on our next leg up. Right now, it's not sure. Honestly, it's not. And the market conditions right now are tough. And what I mean by that is when you sit there and try guessing what's going on with a volatile market like cryptocurrency with Bitcoin, it's a little hard to predict. So you want to ease your mind, look at long-term channels, pay attention to them, especially if you're holding and you're starting to get weak in the hands. You want to figure where you're going to be, next year from now. If Bitcoin was to crash to $1,000, are you okay with it? Right? Are you okay with Bitcoin reaching $100,000? Sure. Are you okay with it losing, a significant amount of its valuation today and crashing down 1,000? Probably not. But if you keep your eye on the long-term trend, even if it does crash to $1,000, you can have a lot of confidence that this market is growing, new services are being produced and about ready to be extended to the global community for cryptocurrencies. We have Samsung. They had a major developer conference last year, or actually this year, a few months ago, where they released Developer SDK for blockchain technologies, and natively it supports Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, this is a no-brainer. You got Samsung, there's billions of users, or billions of devices that users use from Samsung, and I could be wrong. I don't know what the statistics are for all these devices, but we know that Apple and Samsung are the two biggest players in the mobile market. So as soon as that gets released to the consumer levels with a friendly user interface and users gain confidence in using services backed by blockchain technologies, it's no brainer. It's going to explode. So even if it crashes to $1,000, it's going to be for a small period of time in the grand scheme of things. When you look back 5 years, you're going to see this trend that we're in right now, and it's going to be nothing compared to what it will be in 5 years, especially if new services like that of Samsung gets released to the market and allows other companies like Google to create, services utilizing blockchain technologies. Assets, digital assets are going to be directly attached to these currencies. The digital yen, for instance, we don't know yet, but it's being speculated that the digital yen is going to be more than just a vehicle of transferring funds from one user to another. They're going to obviously have some unique auditing instances within the digital yen for government use. But I'm sure they're going to provide a lot of tools to help propel the next generation of e-commerce. And keep that in the back of your mind when you're investing, is that we are in a major change economically never seen before, with global transactions, global services, countries uniting, new financial vehicles to transfer wealth. And it's not just cash. You're going to have properties, you're going to have vehicles, all sorts of stuff are going to end up getting embedded into blockchain type services, that they start becoming everyday, part of our everyday life. We've already seen this before. Don't forget about the internet. I've been in the technical industry. I started my career back with the Y2K bug, resolving government computers, making sure their BIOSes are updated. The internet was out, but hardly anybody was using it. Government services utilize the internet, but everyday citizens, I would go into the doctor's office, nobody was utilizing electronic medical records or making digital appointments or following up with patients through text messages. Like, that just didn't happen. They didn't have confidence. I remember specifically asking a doctor back then, why don't you go ahead and implement a digital appointment system? It seems like it would be easier, save time, and allow your staff to do other things like support its patients. And they said that they trust a pen and paper more. Now, that was basically 2000. Here we are approaching 2020, 20 years ago, and literally everybody runs a digital system. Every household has multiple devices. Every doctor's office has multiple devices. You just cannot go anywhere without seeing a device being utilized for professional services. Now, the next logical step is being able to transmit wealth, buying goods of services, being able to be fast with that. Like, let's say I want to buy a house, real estate. Like, you should be able to do that quickly. You don't have to set up a 45-day escrow. You can do a 24-hour escrow. Gain access to the house the next day. I don't know. There's just going to be some creative ways with blockchain technologies, crypto assets like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king of digital currencies, it's hard for me to let that currency go. When I sit there and sell Bitcoin, I always regret it. I've had to sell it many times, and I still regret it to this day. I foolishly spent most of my Bitcoins on silly stuff like televisions, going on vacations, buying miscellaneous gifts for people. Shoot, I would just give Bitcoin away to people so they could experiment with it. Only if I just held on to all of that through the thick and thin, it sure would have been nice right now. But the truth is, I probably would have held on to it more so now based on my past experience. So all I'm trying to say is right now, the long-term trend line's intact. Don't freak out. Be patient. Monitor the trend lines. Take advantage of tools like trends.google.com. Type in Bitcoin there. See what's going on. If we're going low, let me share my screen again so that way you can see this. If we're going to go below the current trend that's on Google, right? If we start dipping below and it's dipping significantly, we're losing traction globally in regards to the attention for Bitcoin, well, then that's going to be a bit of a red flag. But right now, it's actually holding fairly strong. And matter of fact, looking at this, I would use March 24th, 2019 as my example for being concerned. If it dipped below this point and it stays down there for a week, yeah, we're going to have some shaking experience. It's going to get volatile. Okay, so utilize Google Trends as a way. Obviously, Tradingview is a great spot. Hey, check out my post, provide your thoughts. I put in here a few things, various paths to Bitcoin. Oh, it looks like I did path 5. Sure would love to hear your ideas too if you watch this. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and quit out of here. Yeah, that's it. Like, honestly, I just want to share my posts. I want to experiment, see what's going on with YouTube censorship. And I hope you have a fantastic day or night wherever you are. Okay? Thanks.